Time for another edition of the Coach Dave Jacobs Show, sponsored by Sinclair Foods, and a win to talk about this week, Coach.
Yeah, it was an exciting one.
It was, I mentioned it on the air, the first half of football was probably the best offensive half of football I've seen.
Well, I mean, we were clicking. I mean, it was, the kids just did a great job of executing the offense, and Billy got the ball to the right person, and it was fun. It was fun to click like that.
Is it getting in a rhythm? I mean, just everything was working. You run the ball on back-to-back plays when it looked like you were just maybe trying to slow things down a little bit, and Lolos gets 2 first downs on back-to-back plays, and Billy just spreading the ball around. I guess when you're getting first downs, the play calling becomes easier.
Well, and again, it really is built into our offense. I mean, there's 3 choices each play, and there's a quick game look to one side, a screen look to the other side, and if he doesn't like either one of those, then we go to the run. And the linemen are blocking the run, the receivers are blocking the screen, and the single receiver is doing his quick game based on the coverage. So, again, I mean, I like what we're doing. We're not wasting plays. We certainly didn't waste any then. And then again, it's just a matter of the kids understanding what the defense is doing, and especially the quarterback, and just getting the ball to the right person.
Did the film review play out that he was getting it to the right guy on each play?
Oh yeah. I mean, we scored quickly, and when you do that, the defense is scrambling. They're trying to, you hit them with something, then they adjust to that, then you're able to go to something else, and that's kind of what our offense is all about, and that's what I'm excited about, because we have kids at each of the skill positions that can make plays. So it's a good thing.
It was exciting to watch. I mean, just to see the ball get distributed around, see those scoring drives that took 60, 70 yards, and it was over in 3 or 4 plays and taking about 2 minutes off the clock. It just seemed like everything was clicking, scoring on those first 5 drives offensively. Then halftime came. And coming out of halftime, it was Granite City got the ball first, and they scored on their opening drive and took the momentum away.
Yeah, and I'm going to back up to that last drive of the second quarter for us. I mean, we're up 35-6, and I mean, our defense was out there quite a bit, and I thought they were getting tired, so I decided to kind of take the air out of the ball for the last 2 or 3 minutes, and in hindsight, I wish I would have kept the hammer down a little bit, and maybe went and got some more points right before halftime, and then we were receiving in the third quarter, so we would have got the ball back then again, and kept the momentum, and we were 2 scores away from getting a running clock, and that's on me. I mean, I should have kept the kids aggressive, but our defense was out there an awful lot, and that's just something that I won't do again.
In that third quarter, they were able to come up with some big plays, and I guess in film review, you probably have figured out why. Was it as simple as lined up properly, or couldn't make tackles, or did they just have a good play call against your defense call?
All of the above. I mean, a lot of it. I mean, they're 16, 17-year-old kids that I think looked at the scoreboard when they went in at halftime, and we tried to. I think that, we, not intentionally, but I think the kids kind of put it on cruise control, and they got the athletes that any given second they can score, and to their credit, again, I mean, coach is doing a good job over there with their kids, and they were resilient and came back, and they certainly made a game of it, and you got to credit them. But the lesson for us is, once again, I mean, we got to finish people when we have the opportunity.
And when the game got within 1 score, the Panthers answered with a field goal, and then put together another scoring drive late to push it out to the final score, which was 44-28. Looking at some of the numbers from the game, Billy Ritchie with 5 more touchdown passes. He's got 9, and that's tops in the St. Louis area. Is that everything you expected and more from Billy Ritchie?
Yeah, I mean, and I'm really not a stat guy. I mean, I'm not, and kids know that. I mean, I don't talk about stats, and Mike McInerney said Billy's tied the school record for most touchdown passes in a game, and all that stuff's great. And Billy's doing his job, and the kids are catching the ball, and linemen are protecting. I think Billy was only maybe hurried twice when you throw that many times in a game, and again, I mean, it's just it's a credit to the kids, and it's not just one person; it's all of them, and the stats prove that.
Yeah, the other side of that stat is that Billy's got the 9 touchdown passes, but no receivers show up in any of the receiving categories because it's been distributed so much.
Yeah, and that's exciting. I mean, that is exciting for the kids because you want to keep them all involved in the offense. And when, we have plays that'll get a certain kid a ball, and if they haven't had it in a while, or I'll call their number up and make sure we get it to them. And it just makes everybody play hard when they line up and when we get in a formation and the kids can tell who's going to get the ball based on how the defense is playing, and when they adjust, it's going to go to somebody else. And they're all best friends. They all get along. They're very unselfish, and it's nice to have.
I know you're not a stat guy, but I want to just throw out some other things. Lolos has 2 100-yard rushing games in as many games. Austin Isringhausen kicking extra points has been perfect, and he's 1 for 1 on field goal attempts, and no sacks allowed.
Yeah, and again, that's just a credit to everything that we're trying to do, and on the flip side, and I'm sure you'll bring it up, is we've got to shore up some things on defense, and we move some kids around, and I think we've got something now where we can build on, and in particular with our linebacking core, and we've got to get better on that side of the ball, and really, I mean, I would, Lolos has had 2 100-yard games, but really, I'd like to be able to run the ball a little bit better as well, especially when you get in games like that, and you want to shorten the game. You get in your 4-minute mode where you huddle up and try to burn clock, and you want to be able to run the ball. And we weren't able to do that in the opportunity, in the 2 times that I wanted to do that, and that's something that we need to get better at.
So when you go to that 3-back stacked I formation, obviously you're wanting to run some of the clock down, but doesn't that limit you how much running game you can get out of that? I mean, you're not going to get a lot of holes if they're stacking the box.
Well, I mean, we've done pretty well in that formation. That was almost 100% last year. It's really a short yardage goal line package where, I told Billy he couldn't throw because we have play action out of that. And, when you throw and, a kid would drop the ball and it stops the clock. And so I just made him run it. And there was a couple times I said, you have to call a run here. And he did, and, he did the right thing. The one bootleg he went the wrong way. If he would have kept it around the other end, I think he'd still be running. But,
yeah, that didn't look right.
No.
It didn't turn out right either.
No.
One other thing I wanted to talk about with this past week's game was Crick Kimball has, I think, 4 touchdown receptions on the season, and he's not been on the field very much. I guess that will be addressed, but I can't imagine what his production would be if he was on the field all the time.
Well, he hasn't played in the second half of either game. I mean, he's done that in 2 quarters, and we really miss him on defense too because he's really starting to show up at linebacker, and that's something. I mean, Crick is just he sweats. I mean, he wakes up sweating. He's just one of them kids that he loses so much fluid, and when it's hot like it is, and we're addressing it with the trainer, and our trainer's in contact with the parents about different things that we can do. But it's supposed to be 70 this Friday, so hopefully we can get into the fall and keep him out there because he's very key to what we're doing.
Has that shown up in practice? I mean, we had very hot days in practice. Was he slowed in practice too? At all?
No, I mean, when there's built-in water, and we got water out there with them all the time, and it's just different. I mean, we're looking at maybe shorten our pregame up a little bit if it's hot like that, and because we take the field an hour and 15 minutes before the game, and do we need to do that? Our kids know what they're doing, but we're looking at different things. I'm going to put in personnel groups with receivers now, so like we'll have scenarios if Crick's out, then then Shively will go to his position. We'll bring in Turman, and then we've got situations where we can take Varble out and Obi out. Those guys that are on defense, where we can build in rest for them during the game. Like every third series, they would come out,
and they are aware of the offense enough that they could play those different positions.
Oh yeah, our offense. It may look difficult, but it's pretty simple, and they're all smart kids. Our whole receiving core, they get it. So that's fun too.
Well, 2 weeks down, and the offense has looked good, especially the quarterback with putting a lot of numbers on the board. Before we get to the preview of this upcoming game, there was one player on your roster I wanted to ask you about. You've got an exchange student from Germany who is on the roster this year. Talk a little bit about that young fellow.
Paul Klinge is his name. He came to us as a foreign exchange student from Germany, as you said, and they play kind of club football in Germany. In fact, they play their seasons actually in the summer. So he just got done playing, and he came over here, and it was quite an adjustment. I think I don't think he was a little shell shocked at first because they play it for fun over there, and it's fun here too, but it's pretty serious. And I think after he got over his jet lag, and that's tough on a kid to come in another country, come to a school you don't know anybody, you're living with a new family, and we've tried to make him feel welcome because the kid, he does have some talent. He can run, he's tough, he's a boxer. He's somebody that I think is going to be able to help us down the road. He's a great kid.
What position does he play?
He plays defensive back, and he can play receiver. But for us, he's going to be a defensive back for us.
And maybe some special teams, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Well, he'll be on the kickoff. Like I said, he's a boxer. He's got that mentality. He wants to hit somebody, so that's what we like.
I wasn't aware of him on the roster. I knew that there was a strange name that I didn't recognize from being from this area, and then found out he's an exchange student and no language problems.
Oh, no, he's good. And, his dad's already invited me over to Germany, so, hopefully I can go over there.
Pick up some German football plays and incorporate them into the offense here. The other teams in the Mississippi Valley Conference this past week had a rough go of it. Highland was the only team that won. Do you, as a coach, still with the Mississippi Valley Conference a couple weeks out, do you look and see what the other teams in the conference are doing?
Absolutely. That's something we try to stay up on. Obviously, we want our conference to win. Their non-conference games. That certainly helps the conference as far as playoff points. And we root for each other. All of us are trying to build up the Mississippi Valley and have it more of a dominant league, and we root for each other in the playoffs, and we're all good buddies and stay in touch. And right now we're all doing crossovers with the Apollo and the South 7 right now, and we get film on each other from the non-conference games, and yes, it's important, and we want us all, we want everybody to do well in the non-conference games.
That being said, are you breaking down film after these couple of non-conference games, or is that kind of put off for a while yet?
We do the old cliche. We take them one at a time. We have the film on Huddle. It's there. We just, I'm telling our guys we got to focus on this week every week, and knowing that we have some film that you can look at in your spare time, but we got so many things to fix ourselves with us, and we're not good enough to look 2 games ahead or anything. So we've got to really play well this week and improve in some areas, and on a 0-2 Mount Zion team that is going to be a desperate team, and we're on the road, 2.5 hour bus ride, and their kids are going to be excited, and they're, like I said, they're going to be a desperate team, and you're going to play those kind of guys. You got to bring your best.
And when you play that team, you're going to get kind of like a 2-for-1 because they played Highland last week, so you'll get to see maybe some tendencies there. We'll take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk more about Mount Zion. It's the Dave Jacobs Show on WJBM, brought to you by Sinclair Foods.
Sinclair Foods is now making its one-of-a-kind Panther Burger available to everyone just in time for the fall sports season, and they are sure you're going to love them. But don't stop there. From their quality meats, fresh bakery, delicious deli with Champ's Chicken, you can't go wrong by stopping at Sinclair's. Sinclair Foods, large enough to serve you, small enough to know you.
Welcome back to the Coach Dave Jacobs Show. We're previewing the Mount Zion game in Week 3. It's the final non-conference game at the beginning of the season against a Mount Zion team that's got a new head coach, and they're implemented a new offense, kind of a spread offense, and apparently they want to play much like the Panthers want to play, and that's play fast.
Yeah, the offenses are very similar. I mean, they're going to be a spread 2x2, 3x1. They've got their good running back returning, number 36. He's very quick and runs hard, and their coaches. When you change a system, you go from a run-oriented team like they were with the previous coach to spreading out. I mean, there's going to, as we learned when I first came here, there's a transition time, but he's doing the right things, and his kids are, even though they got beat. And the score didn't show it. On film, their kids are getting better.
Their running back you mentioned is Austin Ray. Apparently he's been a starter, I guess, since his sophomore year, and he's got like 3,000 yards rushing. And some people in that area thought that maybe his talents might be de-emphasized with a spread formation, but as you can attest, a running back is very important in a spread.
Well, I mean, it's... you either spread them out to throw, you spread them out to run, and that's the first thing you have to identify, and if they got a running quarterback, which, their kid doesn't run a lot, I think that might hurt him a little bit because he's the only threat when he's back there, and you can kind of key on that. But, it's just the philosophy, and that's the beautiful thing about high school football is you can't recruit your guys. You have to adapt your system to the kids that you have. And it, like I tell our guys, our coaches all the time, it doesn't matter what we know, how much football we know. It only matters what our kids can do. And that's the challenge every year with high school is you got a different group of talent, skills every year. It'd be nice to be able to recruit your system. But we have to adapt, and our offense is really adapted to what we're doing here, and I'm sure Coach over there will get his guys adapted as well.
Mount Zion does have a new head coach. It's Mike Popovich, and you might recognize that name. I believe he was at Bunker Hill for a period of time. They lost their season opener 41-14 to Muhammad Seymour, and Highland defeated Mount Zion 52-28 this past weekend. The commonality between the two, both Muhammad Seymour and Highland are nicknamed the Bulldogs. And the fact that Mount Zion gave up a lot of yardage and points in both games. So do you lick your chops a little bit? Do you see where there is a tendency to give up some points, and you've got your opportunity this week?
Well, I mean, you've seen our first two games. I mean, we can't take anything for granted. And again, our focus is us, and we've got to get better defensively. We've got to be able to run the ball. We're putting the ball on the ground. We've got to stop that, and we got to keep improving. I mean, we improved a ton from week 1 to week 2. There's no question. It shows on film, and but still, we got to play four. I want to put 4 quarters together and hopefully build some momentum before we hit, the Valley Conference and Highland that first game. So we're trying to keep building this thing one break at a time.
Panthers allowed a kickoff return for a touchdown in your first game, and in Mount Zion's first game, they scored a punt return on a touchdown, so special teams could come into play again.
Yep, and we emphasize it. I mean, we start every practice with it, and like I said, I mean, we got better at it. I mean, our kickoff coverage I thought was pretty good when we have Nathan Scott kicking off for us now. Because he can go down in coverage and he can place the ball a little bit better. And Izzy's still our field goal guy, but it's something that with Izzy being a soccer player, he can't be there to work on his kickoffs, and we have Nathan there now, and he works on them every day, and that's the key to our kickoff coverage is being able to place the ball where we want it, where we can align our players towards that. And if you miss it, we have to rally to it, and that's something that we're trying to do better. We're trying to pin teams down and make them go a long way.
And having a football player kicking off, he can also go down and make tackles, and I think he did this past weekend.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, most teams on their kickoff return, they don't count the kicker on their blocking schemes, and that's something that we can send Nathan down. And a lot of times he's not accounted for in their blocking scheme, and he plays linebacker for us. And we can drop a kid to play safety like normal kickers do, but we can also send Nathan every once in a while as well.
Mount Zion's first game, they scored on a hook and lateral play, a little bit of a gimmick play. Do you, as a coach, see that on film and prepare for it, or do you think, well, they're not going to try it again? They've already done it once.
Oh no, we'll prepare for that. They run a. The hook and ladder, they'll do a halfback pass. I mean, they've got all those little gimmicks and things. And, my philosophy on those is, one, you're either really good and you have time to work on those, or two, you're struggling and trying to find something that, can break something loose for you. So, whatever we see on film, we get their base run plays, their base pass plays, and defend those first. And then, our whole goal is to try to get them to do something else. We'll prepare for those trick plays and situations, and hopefully our kids can see them and defend them. I've
been bugging Coach Jacobs about putting a trick play in the book, and he won't do it. And I guess I won't ask about it now.
We have them. We just don't call them. It's like a fake punt. You got to have some guts to call that. So we haven't.
I'm just waiting for the double pass with Jake getting the ball and heaving it downfield, and have a Turman run underneath a 70-yard pass play.
We'll have something for you soon.
Okay. Another edition of the Coach Dave Jacobs Show, brought to you by Sinclair Foods. Good luck this week.
Thank you so much. Looking forward to it.